Joining us now, Alfredo Ortiz. Alfredo was the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network. They have been heavily involved in Georgia trying to win these two seats on what still is a January 5th runoff. Alfredo, great to have you with us, sir.
Hey, John. Good morning. How are you doing?
Okay, so I was at the rally Saturday night in Valdosta. I've been in Georgia for 2 weeks traveling. I've been here for 5 weeks total, and a lot of people upset that Perdue and Loeffler have not mentioned the election fraud and they've not done anything about it. We think it's hurting them. What is your view? How can they turn the corner and win this? Because two latest polls that came out show the two of them behind. How do you win?
Yeah, and I've seen those polls, and that is definitely worrisome. As you know, there was two debates, actually. One, Perdue was not in attendance, and then the other one, excuse me. Oh, bad timing. I apologize, John.
That's okay.
The other one with Kelly. And, you know, I think you're right. I think there's concern. There's enough since that video came out. I think we all know what video we're talking about, where we saw suitcases of ballots being carried out from under a table in the middle of the night with no poll watchers around. Very concerning, right? So I think the irregularities are there. I think there's enough to be questioned, and you know, I think the process needs to carry itself out. So I'm glad to see what's happening there. I know Brandon is working on that. So we need to see that through, I believe, before anything else goes forward. And I think the two senators need to probably express that. I don't think it would be wrong or out of character of them to be able to express that, because they are U.S. senators and there is irregularities in the state. And so, you know, but I also do believe that, you know, Kelly, for example, does need to talk about her background in the private business world, as well as Perdue, because nobody does better at creating jobs than job creators. When you compare their backgrounds to the other two, those guys have never actually started a job. They've never had a business. They don't know what it's like to run a business, right? So it's a clear difference here between those two. So not only would I just focus on this voting regularity, but really actually talk about the differences between the two. The Warnock and Ossoff have literally no experience creating jobs. They are not job creators. In fact, they're going to be job destroyers, because all they're going to be is a rubber stamp to all the liberal social crap that we're seeing from the left. The Green New Deal, the minimum wage, being raised to $15 an hour, which, John, you and I both know. I mean, look, I have no problem ever paying, folks, more than that, more than $15 an hour. In fact, as you know, we ran a campaign that was called the Fight for 50, which is $50,000, per year jobs or careers, really, that we need through training. But the reality here is that, again, job creators know how to create jobs. And in Georgia, that's what we need. We need to keep creating jobs. We need to get out of continue this V-shaped recovery that we can attribute to, President Trump. And these two, Warnock and Ossoff candidates, are going to do completely the opposite by being the rubber stamp for the liberal lunacy.
Well, not only that, I mean, Warnock is a complete socialist. I mean, you look at some of the things the guy has said. I mean, he's a step from Venezuela, Fidel Castro, complete communist. I mean, this guy is so far out of the mainstream. It is shocking to me that in the Trafalgar poll, he's got a 7-point lead. I think one of Kelly Loeffler's problems is she's not really connected on her background. She grew up on a farm. She was not wealthy. Her family was lower middle class on a farm. She was a waitress. She worked her way through school. This is a woman that worked her way up. Now she happens to be married to the guy, I think the CEO of the stock exchange, so they're worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And she's green. I mean, she's never ran a campaign before. She got appointed, but she's not connecting. And I think you're right.
I would agree with that.
But you nailed it. I mean, her connection should be, hey, I started from nothing. I picked berries on my family farm. I waited tables to get through college. I'm a self-made woman. Who I marry is who I marry, right? I mean, she happens to marry a bajillionaire. Right. I mean, it just, whatever. But she's not connecting, and she's got to talk about jobs. And the other guy, he's so radical. It's like I look at him like, how do you have a lead in Georgia? How do you have
Right.
this?
Yep. No, and that's exactly right. And I think again though, what you remember what you and I talked about several weeks ago, where I said I can't believe how people are underestimating the power of Stacey Abrams,
Yeah.
and why I
Yeah.
was concerned, and why we started, because really I'll take my JCN hat off, and I'm going to put my other hat on, which is I'm the chairman of the Keep America Action Fund. And in that regard, we were very concerned about it, and that's why we started that fund, because I felt as though there was complete complacency in terms of what we were trying to do to win this thing, here in Georgia, when I know what Stacey Abrams was doing. I mean, she's got 1 million mail-in ballots basically already geared up, ready to go, and that's very concerning. So again, I'm glad to hear what Brandon's doing, because I think that special session is pretty important.
We have to motivate the base. I've been here for 5 weeks. I've taken Georgia callers. I'm getting about 25 a day that I can come in that we're trying to get to. We're putting up on our YouTube page every day. I've gone around the state. Alfredo, I'm in the middle of a 12-city and 12-day tour in Georgia, where we go into areas, we meet with the state senator, we get the representatives in, we take phone calls. This is how you get the pulse of the people. And the way to motivate the Trump voters to get out on January 5th or February 1st, whenever the election is you've got to take action on what they see as their votes being stolen. And the evidence that's been presented in Georgia is so overwhelming. They have 150 sworn affidavits. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And the bottom line is, you can say what you want if you're sitting in Washington as a consultant. You can send tweets out if you're Newt Gingrich. None of that matters now, okay? Nobody cares what Gingrich says. People are pissed. They want action. And if you want to get them out and vote for you on January 5th to save the republic, you got to have a special session, give them what they want, which is show me action so my vote is not going to get stolen again. And if you do that, you're going to win. If you don't, these two senators are at tremendous risk. That is what the voters are telling us. You can dispute it, argue with it, think it's bad, send out tweets like Gingrich. It doesn't matter. This is how they feel. And so the fact that we're not responding to it is mind-boggling to me. And if you went to that rally on Saturday, this is why I'm so worried, right? You go to Valdosta, I'm sitting in the crowd, 25,000 people. Perdue gets up. He basically got heckled. As soon as he gets up to the stage, there's a chant that goes on, fight for Trump, so deafening he can't even speak, hands the microphone back to Trump. You got to be tone deaf not to understand what's going on here. Yeah. And I don't want to fight about it. I mean, I don't want to argue about it like, well, people should do this or they should do that. I'm just reporting the facts, and the facts are you got to show action to get these people out again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it really does. And what I've heard too, and I'm not sure if you've heard this too, John, but some of the rumblings, coming from the state capitol is, what's going to cost $1 million of taxpayers' money? You know what? Let's set up a GoFundMe page. We'll raise the money. If that's the issue, right? I mean, don't make that the excuse. I'm sure we can find, $1 million somewhere between, everybody that's so pissed off. I mean, I'm sure if that's the issue, we'll take care of that, right? But
yes,
that to me is an excuse.
Exactly. I mean, if you're listening to voters, and I got the same thing. The first 2 days I got here, this started, and then Tim Phillips, who's the president CEO of Americans for Prosperity, came on my show for a day, and he's going to the same rural counties I am. He traveled with me for 2 days. He heard the same thing I did. So it is what it is. We have to respond to this. And as far as the cost for a special, I mean, give me a break. I mean, all the money that's wasted, people don't care if it's $1 million. Here's what they care about. They want their vote to matter. They don't want to be cheated again.
Yeah,
right?
that was my feeling. I mean, we just need to do what's right. We need to get it going. I'm hearing the same thing, John. I mean, like I told you, I mean, when you first got here, you and I had this conversation.
That's right.
I was hearing this. I mean, that's why I was concerned. Again, that's why we set up this action fund as part of our Keep America campaign, because that's just so so critical, and I just wasn't getting that same feeling. It was just some level of complacency that I had never seen before. Now people are starting to get worried because the polls are looking what they're looking like.
Well, it's scary because if you look at the potential of a Biden presidency, and they have control of the Senate and the House, I mean, it is a scary situation. I mean, the amount of change that they can then look. Alfredo Schumer said it, right? Give us Georgia, and we're going to change America, right? Yep.
No, absolutely. And then even that one-off comment. I'm not sure if you saw that clip with Biden and Harris, where he said something like, "Well, and if we have some fundamental disagreement, maybe I'll just come up with some disease that I have and just resign." And I was like, "Well, first of all, that's what you and I had joked about. Remember that he would just get into office and then just basically resign because he has Alzheimer's or something. Remember, we were kind of joking about that.
Yep.
And then he says that. I'm like, oh my God, that was their evil plan.
I mean, you got it. Some of the things he says, you don't know if he's joking or if it's like a Freudian slip or he's losing it. And I mean, he's the same guy that said, you know, I'm going to win because I've got the biggest vote fraud operation in history, right? I mean, he said that. He's on tape. And, you know, he said it and we all kind of chuckled about it. And he said he probably meant get out the vote or something like that and messed up his words. But now you look back at it, you say, well, maybe, you know, they told him about it. And he was like, yeah, I can't. You know, I get back to election night and I remember him coming on about 11 o'clock and saying that all our trend lines are good. You know, we're going to win. Everything is good. And I remember sitting there looking at Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and he was ahead in Pennsylvania, Trump by 800,000 votes. And I remember sitting there with Steve Bannon and saying the guy is delusional. I mean, he has zero chance of winning. I mean, look at the numbers. But he knew. He knew those ballots were going to get dumped in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah,
Alfredo.
It's just crazy, John. But no, listen, I'm glad that things are moving forward the way they are, and that's why we've got the court systems, and we need to use it. And Trump is well within his legal right to, you know, use every possible legal mean to make sure that all the legal votes are counted and the illegal votes not.
I got to roll, but tell us about your PAC.
Yeah, so again, what we were just talking about, keepamericaamerica.com. It's a Keep America Action Fund, and it's basically to do what you and I were just talking about, make sure that people get out to vote. Again, whether it's January 5th, February 1st, you know, whatever, but, you know, we want to get people out there. We're encouraging people to not do mail-in ballots, but to go ahead if you have to do early voting. You know, it opens up December 14th. Get out there, do the in-person early voting. But, you know, we want to make sure that every single person comes out because this race is going to be very, very close. No matter what happens, this race is going to be very, very close. And all those people that were saying to me that not to worry, well, I'm worried. And that's why we started the Keep America Action Fund. So we encourage people, if they want and they love our country and know that these 2 seats are the last 2 seats that need to be kept red because if they're not, everything goes to crap, basically, in this country.
Yep.
We ask them to go to keepamericaamerica.com and give $1, give $100, $5, or whatever you can, but we need the financial support as well.
All right, John Fredericks Radio Network. I want to thank Alfredo Ortiz for being with us, President and CEO of the Job Creators Network.